Hello again, and welcome to Storytime with Uncle Gravy. Big hellos to Isaac and Theo and Joseph and all the regulars. And if you're new, you're starting at chapter 12. So I suggest you go back to chapter 1. It's on the YouTube channel. And today will make a lot more sense if you do. So we're going to carry on. Jake thinks he's found an answer to what him and Hollie may have seen in the garden on that strange campout. Hollie was pleased that Jake was slightly less grumpy than the last time she had seen him, but also felt like she was about to have her memories of the previous night undermined or disproved. It gave her mixed feelings, but she smiled back at Jake and said, "Come on then, Chris Packham, show me your findings." Jake was actually quite pleased with Hollie's joke. Spring Watch and Autumn Watch were their absolute favourites, and they both very much dreamed of being the next Chris Packham or Michaela Strachan. "Okay then, my friend, prepare to be amazed and relieved." He pulled out the tablet from his rucksack, switched it on, and pulled up the page that he had found. With a fake game show host voice, he spun the screen towards Hollie and announced, "Let me introduce you to the Pygmy Shrew." Hollie looked at the picture on the screen. It was a very small animal with a longer than usual nose, and it was covered in fluffy fur. But it was standing on 4 legs. She looked at Jake, then at the screen, and at Jake again. His face was showing that as far as he was concerned, this was the only answer that they needed. "Jake," said Hollie gently, "I'm sure what we saw was standing up." "Aha!" replied Jake instantly. "I was hoping you would say that. Look!" Another page opened, which showed this same tiny creature standing on its back legs, obviously smelling the air or on alert for some reason. Hollie admitted, or had to admit, but in her mind only, that it did actually look quite convincing. She wasn't ready to admit defeat yet, but also knew that her version of events made no sense at all, however convinced she was. Looking at the wording on the page in more detail, an important question came up, which Hollie had to ask. "The thing is, Jake, it says here that they are 4 to 6 centimetres long. What we saw was smaller than that, way smaller than that, so how could it be one of those?" "Yes," replied Jake again. "I was hoping you would say that too." Hollie now felt that Jake must have been doing some proper research. "Pygmy shrews have babies that weigh less than half a gram. Imagine how small they are, even when they leave the nest and start wandering around by themselves." Jake handed the tablet to Hollie and said nothing. His silence while she looked at the screen was very powerful and actually made what he was suggesting more convincing. Hollie felt a bit confused all of a sudden. She was being given a very clear and logical answer to something that they had both seen late at night by torchlight when they were both feeling tired and yawny. Her gut feeling was telling her something else though, and she was thinking about her dad, who always told her that a gut feeling is usually right, and that science is just a collection of accepted facts that need to be proved again and again, but will always be open to questions. And this question, it had 2 possible answers. One was in her hand, seemed to make sense, and was backed up by photos and Wikipedia. The other, well, that was now starting to feel almost silly. Hollie gave Jake a, "These pictures are pretty good," in reply, which served 2 purposes. It made Jake feel relieved and like he had probably found the answer, while it let Hollie think about what the answer could actually be. Either way, it stopped the need for debating the weird sighting anymore, and they were soon heading down into Hollie's garden together to look at the new hole in the fence, which they both agreed straight away was the perfect size for hedgehogs to wander through. It had started in a peculiar way, but they now felt their project was going to be a great success. And they were both right, of course. The rest of the day passed quietly. Parents drifted back to the house. Hollie's mum visited the hole in the fence and gave it the official nod of approval. Hollie's dad reluctantly put the flat pencil away, having found no proper reason to keep it tucked behind his ear. No one asked any more questions about the camp-out, and Hollie and Jake made plans to camp out again at the next full moon, but this time it would be in Hollie's garden to see if any hedgehogs were using the gap to explore. After the starlings had flocked in the garden trees, then taken flight and whooshed off together, heading for the nightly gatherings in the skies above the town, the gardens became still. Birds were roosting and safe. Mice and voles were starting to move around, but were still wary of the cats, so they didn't stray too far. The air was still warm, and the flowers had almost been reluctant to close up for the night, but had finally shut their petals to rest and to prepare for the next day. Among the stillness, Ash was wriggling out from under a shell, stretching, sniffing, and yawning. A day and a night without the other Russells had been a weird experience, and it was beginning to register that this new view and new land might have to be the new home, unless something changed pretty soon. Not knowing how that could change pretty soon, Ash began to think, in the way that only Ash did. A part of me feels that I'm not here alone. My friends are nearby and I'm not on my own, but I cannot see them or hear them right now, and I really want to be with them somehow. My tummy feels odd, like I've lost something good. My mouth isn't smiling like I think it should. Tonight is all warm and the stars will come soon. I need Chris and Bernie. I'll use the bright moon. I'll walk and I'll look and I'll listen for sound. I'll try to find clues in this confusing ground. And if I can't find them tonight, I won't worry. For really, I don't need to panic or hurry. If it takes more nights to find them, that is fine. For I am their friend, and I know they are still mine. Ash was really good at thinking aloud, and found it soothing to be thinking naturally this way as the night arrived. In the same way as Bernie and Chris had discussed the daytime being day one without Ash, now Ash was thinking about night one without them. Although it had been a full moon the night before, there was only a small slice from the edge of it missing when it rose over the hill that night, so the garden became lit by the milky white and blue glow once more. Having started the evening full of hope and feeling a tiny bit reassured, the night didn't offer up any clues as to where Ash was or where to look for the others. Many routes were wandered, and at one point Ash was actually only a few feet away from the new hole, but didn't know it was there, so wasn't looking for it. By the morning, Ash returned to the Shell Hotel tired, sleepy, and trying ever so hard to still feel happy. This pattern was set on his first proper night away from the others, and with each night that came over the next few days, the three Russells had less moonlight to guide them and more reasons to believe that they were going to have to get used to this new way of life. The feeling grew stronger as more days and nights passed. Bernie and Chris watched Ash's sunflower grow every day and still hoped to hear or see a sign, but nothing came along that hinted at where Ash was. The moon was reducing in size every night and things were getting darker in both of the gardens. Russells, though, are very practical creatures, so although the first few hours, days and then weeks were hard, in each of their gardens, Ash, Bernie and Chris just got on with the nightly business of eating and drinking and the daily business of napping and finding safe shelter. A Russell's ability to plan ahead is limited, as their brains are extremely small, so existing and being friends and helping each other is about as much as a Russell's brain can actually handle at one time. Chris did appear to be brainier than the others at times, of course, but this was mainly when a conversation had been overheard and reporting second-hand information as facts was easy. Chris did have moments sometimes of hoping that the facts were true, though. Chris knew Bernie and Ash always believed what was said and often acted upon the shared facts, so there was an amount of pleasure to be getting things right. More often than not, though, the others didn't have an alternative view or any ideas, so it was quite easy to get away with things, even if they weren't 100% accurate. What the Russells didn't know, though, and even Chris couldn't know, was that once this new moon and the darkest night had passed, fresh light would be on its way, and new, incredible events were about to happen. And there's today's pause, which means, happily, that tomorrow is on its way. So if you've enjoyed the episode today, catch up with me tomorrow, because I'll be here and I'll be recording and I will share. So if you like this story, share it with friends. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you soon.